everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today we are talking about the movie Bullet Train. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. Bullet Train is a movie about a bunch of criminals who are on a train in Japan, Tokyo, Japan for sure. And yeah, it's basically about their exploits. I guess the main character would be Brad Pitt's character, whose code name is Ladybug. And he sort of believes he's unlucky. So that's kind of the main theme there. There's several different characters. You can see them on the poster behind me there, and they all have their own sort of subplots. And we sort of figure out who they all are throughout the movie as it unfolds. So as far as what I liked about the movie, I liked Brad Pitt. He's always pretty good. He's always very likable. It's hard not to like Brad Pitt. Tyree Henry, I always like him as well. I think he was good in this, and I liked his character. And Sandra Bullock, who's not in the poster, I don't think, but she is mostly just in a voice role. She does show up at the end, and she's sort of Brad Pitt's assistant, helper. Yeah, and I liked her as well, even though it took me forever to figure out who it was. Other than that, there's some other characters who I did like to see, and other actors I like to see in here, like Masaoka Oka and Karen Fukuhara, who you see, she's on the poster over there. But Masaoka is not on the poster, I don't think. But yeah, I liked them. Masaoka was on Heroes, and I was a fan of that. I liked him on that show, and I was excited to see him again, but then he doesn't really do much. He just shows up a little bit to check tickets and just kind of disappears. Same thing, Karen Fukuhara. I like her on The Boys, and I was like, oh, cool. You know, I know her. I'm excited. And she barely talks, and when she does, it's in Japanese. But so that was a little disappointing. And same thing with Zazie Beetz, who I guess is sort of a surprise role, but again, this is a spoiler review. Yeah, I like her a lot, but she doesn't really say much, and she's not really in the movie much. So maybe it's just more of a fun cameo, you know, because they're friends or something, but I guess I would like to see more from them. I really liked Aaron Taylor Johnson's death scene in this. I think the way that the blood sort of spurted out of his head or neck was just comically over the top and ridiculous, and for me, a fun scene. And the way they sort of shot it and held on it long enough was kind of just, you know, done for humor, I think. There's also the scene with the snake where Brad Pitt has to put it in the toilet, and then like the bidet is sort of spraying at him. Thought that was a pretty fun scene, you know, kind of stupid slapstick comedy, but still, it made me laugh. And there's another scene where the elder is talking about the plum tree, and he's sort of making an analogy with this plum tree, and the way that people are misunderstanding the analogy. And Brian Tyree Henry's lemon is just like, oh, plum's got regrets now, or whatever it was, I don't remember. But yeah, that got a laugh out of me. So there's a couple scenes that I thought were pretty funny. And it seemed like all the actors involved were having a good time. You know, it seemed like everyone was having fun, and I'm sure it was probably a fun shoot. So that's good. As far as what I dislike about it, like I said, I like some of the characters. I liked I liked Lemon rather, and I liked Ladybug, who was Brad Pitt's character. And the elder I thought was pretty interesting, and I cared about Kimura's kid. I didn't want him to die. Other than that, though, I didn't really like most of the characters. I thought Tangerine, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, was sort of unlikable. I didn't care for Bad Bunny too much. I actually spent most of the movie going, who is this guy? He doesn't seem like he should be an actor. He seems like, is this the producer's kid or something? Like what's going on? He is weird looking and uncharismatic, and apparently he's very popular in the music scene. Okay, yeah, I didn't like him in this. Joey King, her performance was fine, but I didn't like her character. Just a hard character to like, I feel like. And they do sort of reveal her motivations, but I'm still just like, what a terrible person. You know, I guess she's kind of, I don't know what sets the plot in motion and stuff, but either way, I really also had a big issue with the sound mixing in this movie and the music in general. There's some cool songs. There's this one kind of punk rock song that I really like, but like it comes in and it's so loud and it doesn't really fit the scene, and it's just, it's not mixed well, and I don't know, it's just very jarring. And a lot of the music where it just kind of comes in, it's just very loud. It doesn't fade in or fade out or anything like that. It doesn't really sync up too much. It just seems like someone just picked random songs and just threw them in there. They don't really seem to, I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but they don't really seem to like apply to the plot or anything like that. The humor for most of it, like I said, there's a couple scenes that I did think was funny. I got a couple laughs, but in general, most of the humor didn't really work on me. I felt like they were kind of trying to do that witty kind of quick banter, like a Tarantino type movie or something. And for the most part, most of it really didn't work. And so, yeah, like I said, Tarantino was a big thing. I'm just watching this going, oh, okay, this reminds me of a lot of the movies that came out after Pulp Fiction, like Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, or Suicide Kings, or those kind of movies. Somebody else, I think, compared it to, what's it called? Can't even remember. Aces Wild, something like that, whatever it was, the one with Chris Pine. It was, and it is kind of like that. I feel like just the same, where it seems like they were kind of trying to go for a Tarantino or like a Guy Ritchie kind of vibe, and to me, just didn't quite work. Just it very much came across it too in ways like just visual kind of ADHD, just like a cinematic representation of what that's like, just very frenetic and kind of all over the place. And I realized that's kind of what he was going for. But I actually forgot who directed this. It's David Leitch. And as I'm watching, I'm going, wow, this is bad. Like, particularly the action scenes, I thought were really bad. The fighting scenes and the sort of shaky cam they used in those scenes was just hard for me to watch. It was kind of, I guess I could tell what was going on, but I didn't enjoy like watching it. I generally, I guess, I'm not a huge fan of action scenes, but if they're well directed, I don't mind, and I do like them. And there were some good ones too. Like the actual sort of scene they have with the water bottle and that fight, I did mostly like that. But then there's these sort of close-ups and these kind of shaky cams that they do that really bothers me, that I don't like as much. That takes me out of it. So I was kind of surprised in watching this, going like, who directed this? Why don't I like this? And I thought I liked David Leitch, or I didn't think I had an issue with him. I know he's got a lot of experience with this stuff, but yeah, I didn't like it. And then my biggest issue with the movie, I think, is it's way too long. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes or something like that. It's over 2 hours, and it doesn't need to be. I think there is some good stuff in this movie, and if you cut it down, if you cut it to an hour and a half, hour 45 even, you could have a really fun, really interesting little movie. Just cut out 1 or 2 characters. You don't need to have 12 different characters and subplots. They also do this thing that I forgot to write down, but I remember now, where it's just the movie, I think it just starts with a flashback of some character introduction that I don't care about. And then just as soon as the movie starts to kind of gain momentum, they stop and they have to do some flashback and introduce some character or explain some other thing, to the point where they do it like 20 times. Like it's almost like it's a joke when they keep doing it. And there's like one at the end where I'm like, God, another one? I actually like that one. It showed Lemon driving the truck that hit the girl, which was a cool scene, and I actually didn't mind that one. But you'd already done it 20 times by that point, where you have to keep going back and then showing what happened and what led to this. And like, I don't know, it irritated me, because I guess I've said this before, I don't like non-linear stuff. I just, tell me the story, beginning to end. If you need to go back occasionally, that's fine, but like, don't do it 20 times. That's ridiculous. So other than that, movie's directed by David Leitch, who directed Deadpool 2 and Atomic Blonde before this. And he also, I think, co-directed John Wick, or he worked on that. He's a fight choreographer, action kind of choreographer guy. I think he also may have done some kind of second unit stuff for some of the Avengers movies. He was Brad Pitt's stunt double for a long time, and so that's where he knows him from, and they're apparently, pretty good friends. Yeah. He's a good guy. I think he worked on The Crow. If not him, then the other guy from John Wick did. But yeah, a very experienced guy and well regarded within the industry, as far as I know. The screenplay was written by Zak Olkewicz, who I'm not familiar with, but he apparently wrote Fear Street Part 2. And he's got a movie coming out called Last Voyage of the Defender, which is based on a single chapter from the Bram Stoker's Dracula. David Dastmalchian's in it, though, so I like him, so I'm curious to check that out. And I didn't realize it was based on a book, and the movie seems very much like a movie, like like it was a screenplay. But yeah, apparently it is based on a book by Kōtarō Isaka, who's a Japanese writer who I'm unfamiliar with, but as far as I know, this is the first English adaptation of his work. So there's some other things about the movie that I found out looking up online. Apparently, Sandra Bullock's role as the woman in the earpiece was originally supposed to be Lady Gaga. For whatever reason, she couldn't do it, and they got Sandra Bullock instead. And then in this movie, of course, you see Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt, and then Channing Tatum shows up in a quick little cameo here as well. And of course, Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock did The Lost City this year as well with Brad Pitt. Apparently, they met on the filming of this. This filmed first. They had a good time filming together, and Tatum and Bullock already had The Lost City going. They asked Brad Pitt then to do a cameo in their movie, and so that all worked out. So good for them. Again, looks like they're having fun. There's a lot of other cameos. Ryan Reynolds shows up quickly as the character of Carver, which I did sort of like that joke, and the idea that he wasn't even supposed to be there, like Clerks or something. But yeah, and Zazie Beetz shows up too. So again, a lot of the people from Deadpool 2 and Brad Pitt was in that. And David Leitch directed that. So again, they're all friends. They're having a good time. Good for them. Unfortunately, I think the movie just didn't quite work for me. The main issues being that it's a little too long. It's a little too all over the place, kind of just shaky and frenetic, which I thought we were kind of done with that. It very much feels dated, like a movie from 20 years ago. And most of the humor just didn't work for me. And there's just too many flashbacks and too many side characters and side stories. So my score for this movie overall would be a 6 out of 10. I was a little disappointed by it. And I don't know if I was looking forward to it or not, but I like Brad Pitt. The trailer looked promising. I expected a different movie. I expected it to be more, to have more Japanese characters and to be sort of more involved with the culture of Japan and stuff, and more kind of weird, like very specific to Japan things. And other than the mascot there, there's not much, really. So the movie could have taken place almost anywhere, I feel like, in some ways. But I don't know. If you saw the movie, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.